Happy video day, guys. Christina, Brooke here. Today's video is another Make Up Your Mind. So this is an interesting Make Up Your Mind because I have to say that it didn't take me very long to find these colors, but either way, this is a very popular new release. A lot of people have been talking about it, and it is the brand new palette from Fenty. So the palette is actually called the Bomb Posse palette, okay? So it's interesting because in the photograph, you see the eyeshadow palette, but it looks like it might be created kind of like the snap shadows, and it looks like they're going to also be releasing a face palette because there's an image, which I will show you guys right now, that you can see one side is the eyeshadow palette, the other side is the face palette. I believe that this is because they're snapping together, but they're probably sold separate. I was seeing online that this is apparently already available in Europe. I don't know as of this moment when it's going to release in the United States. I will let you guys know if I know right now. Otherwise, you won't see anything come up on the screen. So this is going to be around the $49 price mark. It might be more. So I decided, let's do this Make Up Your Mind because it's being sold in Europe right now. So it's about to come to the United States. So why don't we go through my collection? I'm gonna try to mimic this palette as best as I can, swatch it out of my arm, see if there's palettes that I think are similar, give you ideas of what I think of the color story. And then of course, at the end of the video, I will tell you guys whether I think that this is a palette that I want to pick up or not. But if you are not subscribed already, please don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would love for you to join the family. I do make up your minds a lot, so if you like this kind of video, then yeah, you might like it around here. So let's go ahead, let's not waste no more time, let's get into it. So first thing, I'm like obsessed with this lip color. It's actually from Bite Beauty, it's the color Harissa. So now that we're going into fall, guys, this is like the fall lipstick for me. I love it. I actually was looking through pictures and I saw an image that I had taken with this lipstick color on and I was like, what color was that? And then I remembered, I was like, why haven't I been wearing that lately? But anyways, that's the color. I will list it down below. Obsessed. Now, let me show you guys the results. So these are the results, and this is how close I could get to this color story. And I'm going to say I think I was able to come very close to this color story. So some of you may know that I'm a little bit partial to like very neutral, pretty eyeshadow palettes because there was a point there that I feel like all the eyeshadow palettes were like super colorful and deep and look at this and blah, blah, blah. And we had stopped seeing like these more soft palettes. But like recently, I feel like everything is soft palettes. So, you know, like you go in through phases, and I feel like I've kind of created a nice little collection of soft palettes that I'm like, I don't know if I really need another one. But let me show you guys the palettes that I went into. And I will say there is one or two palettes in here that I literally feel like if you have, you basically have this palette. But anyways, the first one is Soft Glam. So Soft Glam is the palette that I used to create this eye look today, which is inspired by this new palette that's releasing. But yeah, I used Soft Glam. I also used this one, I feel like is so similar, the Tartelette Juicy palette. So this just released this year, and yeah, very similar. And then finally, I jumped into the new nude from Huda Beauty. I feel like this little guy has actually been pulled out quite a lot lately for Make Up Your Mind. So yeah, you know that there's a similar color story going around, but these are the three palettes that I used. And let's get into the first color. So for the very first color, I went into the Tartelette Juicy palette, and I went into this color up here called Wishful. So Wishful is almost like a bone color. It has a little bit of cream in it. This looks very similar to what they're releasing. If anything, maybe theirs is gonna be a tad bit deeper than this. Based off the swatch, it's gonna be similar to this. It might be a tad deeper, but if you do have this palette, all you have to do is just jump into a deeper color like this one and just mix it in a little bit, you know, put the color down and then just mix the little deeper one on top, and then you could start to create a lighter bone color, a deeper bone color. But I think it's gonna be similar to that. It would make sense anytime you see like these very soft, romantic kind of palettes, you usually do see a color like that in here. I feel like lately I keep seeing a color like this though in so many palettes. Okay, so the next one I also jumped into the same palette, the Juicy palette, and I jumped into this color right up here called Paradise. So Paradise is a real pinky, not like a ballerina pinky, but it has a little bit of peach in it. And looking at their swatch, it almost reminds me a little bit of this color. It's like a pink, but not like that true ballerina pink, a little bit deeper. So that's the color that I see in the swatch. I think it's gonna be so similar to this color, like almost like extremely similar to this color. Now the next one is where I jumped into Nude. So there's a color in here called Teddy. I think it's gonna look a lot like Teddy, but I did end up deciding to deepen it out a little bit, so I will show you guys. This is Teddy on its own. Now in the swatch, I think it looks similar to this, but I think it might be a little richer, so I just grabbed a little bit of this color right here called Raw, and if you mix it in, I literally think it creates like the exact color, like those colors mixed together creates this color. Okay, now this one here is pretty just because it's like a rosy brown, and a lot of palettes don't include like rosy browns. Usually like even like the soft glam, you start going a little bit more on like the deeper browns, not really like those rosy colors. I think the one that has the most rosy would be this one here. So this one, if anything, those browns are similar. So that is why I ended up going with this color. I think it's gonna be very close to this. So the next one, I ended up going into soft glam, and I picked this color called Rose Pink. Now, there is a chance that the new palette might even be more pink than this, but I felt like this one just had just enough pink in it that it wasn't obnoxious. So I said maybe they would go this route. Like, I really honestly didn't want to go pinker than that. Should I go pinker? I might have to go a little pinker. Okay, so let's take that one off. I really honestly wanted to use that one. I think it would look prettier, but sometimes I have to remember, Christina, you're not designing these palettes. So I think it might actually be more pink like this one. Ooh, like that real like pinky, pink, pink, pink. Let's see. Yeah, that might be where it's at more. Yeah, I think we're gonna go more in that pinky pink direction. Now on the camera, I don't know if you'll be able to see it too good because this color actually does have a shift to it, but this new color I do not think is going to have a shift, but yeah, I think it's actually going to be a little bit more like that one, a little bit more ballet shoes pink, which I don't really love these real pinky tones. I like it more when it's softer pinks, like a little bit more paled out pink, but I think it's gonna be more ballet shoey, so we're gonna go with that one. So I ended up adding in Nude Light right now. So I just like this color from Nude Light. I think it looks like that real pinky shade. So yeah, we just added a palette. And I usually don't show you guys that process, but sometimes when I'm swatching these things out after I've already figured out the color story, I'll do like these last minute changes because I'll just see something that I didn't see before. So that's one. I think I'm gonna go pinker on it. Okay, so the next one, I actually think it's going to look like the ABH Soft Glam, and I really think it's gonna look like this orange soda color. Now, I swatched a few different palettes to kind of get like this type of mustardy, orangey taupe, and I feel like the Soft Glam is the one that did it the best and probably the closest to the one Fenty is releasing. So I'm thinking it's gonna look like orange soda. If anything, maybe a tad warmer, like almost like it's gonna have a little bit more brown in it. But based off of the swatch, I was like looking at different palettes and I really felt like that was the closest one. In here, there's this color inside the Juicy palette that's almost warmer, but it just didn't swatch the same. It didn't give me the same effect. So I'm gonna go with that color and I'm happy with that one. And looking at this color story, to be 100% honest with you guys, it's not very unique to me right now. It literally is a baby of the Soft Glam at this point. So for the next one, what I ended up doing was going into the Juicy palette, and I mixed two colors here. So I grabbed the color Dawn, which is a true goldy bronze, but I feel like this palette, the bronze went a little bit more on that strong bronze. So this is like a normal, typical goldy bronze that is in the Juicy palette. But if you grab a little bit of this color called Shin, which is the bright bronze, which is used too, I feel like if you just kind of like dab it very lightly on the top of this color, you start to create a color that looks exactly the same as the new Fenty palette. So it's gonna be pretty close to that, and it looks pretty with the rest of the shades. Like, this is a nice palette, nice color story. The only thing I'm noticing is it's very light. So it's going to depend on what's coming up to see how much depth this palette is going to give, but that's where we're going right now. The next color, Juicy palette, and I grabbed this color called Grounded. So when I swatched this one, I also felt like this was a real similar color. It looked so close. Like I was gonna mix for this one, and after I swatched this, I said, no, I don't need to mix. So that's why I ended up going with that one, and I really think like that one's really close. At least now we have a deepening shade. We have something to start deepening out outer edges and creating depth to looks. That is a pretty nice, that's a pretty nice deep palette. This is a nice deep color. So now we are seeing dimension. So I'm happy about that. So then I told you guys we ended up using like this like bronzy yellow-y color, and that is very similar to the next color. So if you guys see this color, it is like a little bit of orange inside of a bronze color. And that is exactly what the new Fenty one looks like orangey bronze. This is a very pretty color. So this reminds me so much of fall season. You can use like this color and this color together and create a very fall inspired look. So there is variety in here. I just, right now I'm thinking, you know, so let's keep on going. So one of my favorite colors is actually in this palette. I love this color inside of Soft Glam. This color, Sienna. Sienna is the most beautiful color. Like, I feel like if I ever came out with an eyeshadow palette, it would have to have this color in it. This is the most beautiful brown in the universe, and I feel like it just goes with so many colors. It looks very similar to the color Nude Beach, which they're releasing in the Fenty palette. So yes, that looks similar. This one I remembered because I saw a color so similar inside of the new Nude when I was doing the palette for Natasha Denona. This color that I just completely dug my finger into, this is going to be an amazing swatch. This color right here looks so similar. Look at that. Doesn't that look so similar to the color being released from Fenty? Almost identical, like even under not so much light, you can totally see that it is like literally the same color. So that is a beautiful shade. It's one of my favorite shades inside of the new Nude. It's just, it's gorgeous. Okay, so for the next color, what I did was I grabbed into the Juicy palette in this color called Euphoric, but this is too deep. So I do have to add a little bit red into it. So if you guys see, this color looks pretty similar. It has that real nice, deep, rich color, but I feel like I needed to add a little bit of this color called Lucius into it to create a little bit of a redder undertone, just so I could see what this is really gonna look like. And I think it's gonna look more like that. I like that. I also think it's a very pretty color. I do kind of like that there is a little bit more warmth in this palette. They didn't keep it too cool tone, which is nice. So there's one more color, and I also found it in the Juicy palette, and it's this color called Dusk. It's a beautiful brown, rich metallic that looks like this. Beautiful. Such a pretty color. There's also a color similar to this inside of the Soft Glam. It is a typical color that you see in these very like neutral, very easy to wear palettes, and yeah, I mean, I see it a lot. It's beautiful. So if you guys can see, yes, I ended up finding this color story and it was pretty simple. Now, a lot of times you guys wonder how long it takes for me to find these colors, and it all depends on the palette. It depends on the uniqueness of the colors and the palette itself. This one was very simple for me to find. I did not have to work very hard in looking through different palettes to kind of really mimic the colors. This palette to me is Fenty's essential palette that they wanted to add to their collection because they probably don't have something like it. They are a newer brand. So it's kind of like their Soft Glam is what I'm thinking. Soft Glam went a little different here, having these real rich colors, which made it very unique in my opinion. This one stuck more in the direction of the Juicy palette. So these two are the most similar color stories. Like, I think that if you have the Juicy palette, you have this color story, like almost identical. You don't have every single color. You're not gonna have the same exact formula or any nice little sparkly twist that they put into the Fenty palette. But if you're just looking off of color story and you wanna know, hey, am I going to enjoy the Fenty one? If you have this palette, or if you wanted this palette, most likely you will like the Fenty one. The new Nude, in my opinion, ended up going in a rosier direction. It stays more rosy. Can you create similar looks? kind of, but you're gonna go pinker in this. Like this palette's gonna take your looks very pink, whereas this one I feel like went warmer. You're gonna go a little bit more on the warmer side, so it's closer to what the Soft Glam would give you or what the Juicy Tartelette palette would give you. So that is my opinion on Color Story. I think it's pretty. I do think that there is a pretty nice amount of depth in here. At least there's 2 deep shades. I wish that they would have included a color similar to Soft Glam. They have this beautiful like mulberry color that really let you like change all the looks up. Like if you just wanted to go completely different, you grab mulberry and it literally changed every single one of your looks. This palette doesn't have that one changer color. It's more of the deepening shades are browns. So that's basically my theory on this Color Story and what I think about the actual colors selected for the palette. Now when it comes to Fenty, I don't have any experience with the Fenty shadows, but what I can tell you is they have not gotten the best of reviews. I think people have been kind of mixed. I don't know if this is going to be an improvement. Anytime when brands come out with new palettes, it's a chance for them to try something different and maybe advance their formulas a little bit. So there's a chance that this could be a good palette. I don't think it's anything out of the universe. I really do not think that this is a very creative palette whatsoever. I think that this is just a basic palette and maybe one that was needed in the Fenty lineup, and that is totally okay. Not everything needs to be the most amazing, most inventive thing ever. Like I said, I wish that there would have been a little bit more of creativity in it, like including a color like mulberry or something like that would have maybe broadened it to a different level or something like that. That's just my personal thoughts on it. But I'm gonna make up my mind right now and say I don't need this palette. Like I don't think I'm gonna pick it up. If I do pick this up, it's only because a lot of you guys down below are telling me you want me to pick it up for review purposes. But like if I were to just tell you guys, do I want to add this to my collection? Right now, I don't feel like I really would want to. I have the Tartelette Juicy palette, which I love. I love my Soft Glam. I also picked up the new Patrick Ta palette. These are all palettes that have this very similar color scheme and a lot of palettes that I enjoy and that I need to start to use on the lids, you know? So is it something that I feel like I need to run out and buy? Not really, no. But if you don't have a palette with this kind of color story, maybe you're somebody who always looked at the Soft Glam or at the Juicy palette and you like Fenty, then this might be a great palette for you. It has a very nice color story. Some very pretty, warm, subtle looks that a lot of people will probably really enjoy. So that's my thoughts on the new Fenty release. I want to know from you guys, what do you guys think down below? Start sounding off, let me know. I will tell you guys, like if it was me and I had to pick which one I would want, I would probably say that maybe you would want to try the Soft Glam before this one, just because like I feel like this is a little richer. I feel like you can go with more. One might actually be a little bit easier to work with even if you have a deeper skin tone. So that is just my thoughts on it. But I want to know from you guys down below. If you do pick it up, tell us the quality. Is it worth us looking at? And if you guys really want me to get it, leave me those comments down below too, and I may add it to my shopping cart just for you guys on the channel. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. If you guys have not noticed, there's going to be a lot of Make Up Your Minds. It feels like the releases of the eyeshadow palettes have started again. So anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll talk with you guys in my next video.